My name is Savio Kusinagu. A lot of people know me as Creative Sav, and I'm also a startup founder. So I have a 3D animation background. I'm a creative, and also I ventured into XR this year, building virtual reality solutions, just having fun with it and learning a lot in the process. So I'm happy to share what I've learned with you guys today. XR, extended reality, is the parent term. So whenever anyone says XR, they're just talking about the entire space, including everything underneath. Now, what is usually the issue is VR versus AR. Virtual reality, as I said, is putting yourself into a virtual world. So think about, has anyone played Mortal Kombat here? Yeah, you played Mortal Kombat. So imagine the Mortal Kombat world, but you yourself are inside and you are seeing the people fighting. That is virtual reality. Now, augmented reality, you are bringing 3D objects, virtual objects into your real space. So if there is a 3D model of this microphone, then you see it in the real world. Yeah, just an example of AR is what he described, which is AR filters on Instagram, on TikTok. There is this one that I saw, this interesting one, the Lamborghini filter I saw on TikTok. It was a trend where it looked as if the guy was in the Lamborghini, but it was not really there. That is AR. So MR, mixed reality, is a technology where you mix both. So you are in a virtual space, but you can see part of your real space in it. And then the interaction is fluid. You go from AR to VR to AR to VR. So that's basically it. VR, AR, MR. Then extended reality is the parent term. Basically, like you said, for virtual, I can speak just to virtual reality now because that's my space. You need to understand 3D animation. You need to understand your game engine. And usually, each game engine has their language, their scripting language for building logic. So you don't need to be a pro at coding C# or coding a particular language, but just knowing the basics will help a lot. So for me, I use Unity, and I'm coming from a 3D animation background, so I already understood 3D, and I had experience when I was in school building apps, so I already had C# knowledge. So what was lacking for me was the engine. I didn't know anything about Unity. So I spent time learning Unity, building small games, Flappy Birds, little games. When I understood the engine, then I brought those three together: 3D, engine, language. So if you are going to use Unreal, you have to understand 3D still. There are a lot of 3D softwares, Cinema 4D, 3ds Max. I use Blender, and then Unreal Engine is the engine. Then the language is C++. So depending on the route you want to go, those are the three things that you would need to get started. This is like a call to action to creatives out there. If you know you are an animator, a video creator, a YouTuber, a VR immersive developer, you should find ways to I know a lot of us are trying to make money. Yeah, we are trying to build our careers, but in your spare time, working on personal projects, we should try to create projects that reflect the African image. I know there are some people doing this. If you know Tayo Aino on YouTube, he's a videographer. That is his medium. He likes shooting videos. So he tells video stories about places in Africa. He travels from country to country. He shows unique stories, things that I've never experienced before. There are communities in this country that I have no idea they experience. He made a video about the hyena men. I don't know if you saw that video. Tayo Aino. I never knew there was a community like this in this country, but because of his content, now I know this. And there were hundreds of thousands of views on that video. So there are a lot of people around the world that now know about that. So there are people like The Smiling Heart, Kansu. He has this series that he does, Freak the F Out. So it's like a horror series for Nigerian stories. I wonder why more people didn't jump on that. We have a lot of horror stories as Nigerians. A lot, like Miss Koi Koi, that's an entire story that we were told when we were little. A lot of them, Ojuju Calabar, we were told these stories back to back. As kids, we believed them, like we are afraid of it. But these stories didn't come to life, right? So people like Council are developing animations, 2D animations, to tell this story, letting people learn about them. So depending on your medium, if you're a designer, you are an illustrator, find a way to share these stories with your illustrations, something that resonates with you. It might be a drama theme, it might be a horror theme, it might be a romantic theme, whatever story. It can be about the Yoruba gods or the Igbo gods. You could focus on Oduduwa, focus on Shango, or whatever story that inspire you about the African culture in your separate medium. This thing is not going to happen by big studios, right? This is not going to happen by the government. It's the individual creators, you and I, creating little projects, and then over time, it becomes a movement. It becomes a movement where you see that every single creator you see around has a personal project that is related to the African culture. So if you can start that now, trust me, in little time, few years from now, the world will start hearing about our culture and our stories.